Hey YouTube, it's the Common Collector, and today I'm coming at you with a deck profile of Crusadia's. This is a common collaboration, so I'm joined by my friend Tyler. So I'm just gonna let him take it from here. This is his deck, so Tyler, go ahead.
Yeah, this deck is pretty fun. I like it because it's really consistent. You can really link climb pretty easily if you have two Crusadia monsters on your opening draw. So I'll just get into it right now. I'll start off with some Crusadia Arboreas. These are really good cards if they're in your graveyard because you can remove them from play to protect your monsters on the field. So you want to get them in the graveyard, and I have cards in the deck to do that. This is Reclusia. It's a pretty good card. You can tribute it to destroy one of your monster's cards, and if you have Arborea in the graveyard, you can basically not tribute it. You can just keep them on the field. Then there's Draco, which is a pretty awesome card in this deck. It's basically a monster reincarnation. If you special summon it to a zone a link monster points to, which you can do with any Crusadia card, you get to get a card from your graveyard to your hand, which is really valuable. This is Crusadia Leonis. This is the card that inflicts piercing damage if it's on your field when you have a link monster, which is pretty cool. In combination with Maximus, you can do double damage with his effect, so Maximus and Leonis go pretty well together. You can do some pretty big double and piercing damage to your opponent. This is Rescue Cat. I use this with Leonis. I only have one of them in the deck because you have 3 beasts in your deck, so if you draw 2 on the opening draw, he's kind of useless. But that doesn't happen too often. I run 3 World Crowns. They are really good cards to stop your opponent's extra deck monster effects. You can tribute them when your opponent's extra deck monsters activate an effect to negate that effect and destroy the monster. And also, if this card is normal summoned, you can tribute it and to add 1 World Legacy spell or trap card from your deck to your hand. I don't use that too often. I just usually special summon it to a zone a link monster points to increase one of my monster's attacks, because the link monsters in this deck gain attack based on the attack of the monsters they point to. So that's pretty useful. And then I run a couple of Kaijus. They work really good in this deck because you can manipulate the monster zones your opponent is using to make your Equimax gain a lot of attack. And I try to use Kaijus with different names because it works better with Interrupted Kaiju Slumber. So yeah, having different named Kaijus in your deck is pretty good. And we'll move on to the magic cards now. Crusadia Testament is like one of the best cards in this deck. It protects your Crusadia monster effects from opponent activation. Your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to the activation of Crusadia monster effects this turn. But the effect I use the most is the second effect, where you can, if your Crusadia monster destroys an opponent's monster, you can draw cards equal to that monster's link rating. So it's basically a +2 if you're using it on Equimax, which is amazing. And it's really searchable with Regulex. So I only play 2 of them because it's pretty searchable. And I have 1 Pot of Desires. I only use it in a bind if I have to, but it's a pretty good card. It's +1. A lot of people run it. I have a Foolish Burial to send Arborea to the graveyard because you want that to protect your monsters from being destroyed by battle or card effects. Rota, Reinforcement of the Army, to get Arborea. It's the only warrior in the deck, so that card's just useful in any deck with warriors. Monster Reborn and World Legacy Succession are to get cards from the graveyard. Just add monsters to the field, basically. And Interrupted Kaiju Slumber is really good. It clears the monsters on the field, and it pulls up to 2 kaijus from the deck to the field. And then when it's in the graveyard, you can banish it to get a kaiju from your deck to your hand. So it's just like thinning out the deck, and you can also use it to power up your Crusadia Link monsters. This is Link Bound. I only have one of them. You almost always have a Regulex in your graveyard, so you can use it to draw 2 cards and send 2 back to the bottom of your deck, or 3 if you have a Equimax in your graveyard for whatever reason. But it's a good card to like shuffle out cards you don't need if you have a Rescue Cat in your hand that's useless or anything, a double of something. I have 2 pinpoint landings. They allow you to draw a card every time you special summon a monster each turn. So it's basically a draw 1 card each turn, because all of the Crusadia cards can be special summoned from the hand to the field. I have 2 Grid Rods. These are for protecting Equimax. It's the only Cyber monster in the deck, unless you run Avramax. You equip it to a Cyber's monster, gains 300 attack, and is unaffected by your opponent's card effects. And the first time it's destroyed, it would be destroyed by battle. It is not. So that's just really good protection for your Equimax, which is one of the boss monsters in the deck. World Legacy Landmark. I have one of these. Banish 1 World Legacy monster from your hand or face up from your field. Target 2 monsters in your graveyard, special summon them, but they cannot attack. That's just good for getting Link monsters out on the field. I have 2 Crusadia Vanguards. This card is pretty good. It allows you to switch out 1 Crusadia or World Legacy card you have on the field with another one from your deck. You can pretty much search anything you need, usually for Draco, because that's the monster reincarnation card. And it also forces your opponent to only attack your Link monsters. So that's, if your Equimax is up to a really high attack, they kind of can't do anything. And then we're on World Legacy Crawler. This is like turns into an effect monster with 2100 defense. But if you special summon it to a zone a Link monster points to, you can get a World Legacy card from your deck to your hand, which is pretty nice. That's why I have it in there. I'll go into the extra deck. Our Link 1 monster is a Crusadia Magius. Obviously there's 3 of each of these in the deck, and you can Link climb pretty easy to get to Equimax. So when you special summon a Crusadia monster to a zone he points to, you get to search for a Crusadia monster in your deck and add it to your hand. So if you're short monsters in your hand, that's really good. You can keep your Link climb going. There's 3 Regulexes. When you special summon a Crusadia card to a zone he points to, you get a Crusadia spell or trap card to your hand. I usually go for Testament because that's your draw card, your +2. Or you can go for Vanguard because then your opponent can only attack Link monsters. Also, if you special summon Draco to this zone when you're Link climbing, you get a spell or trap card to your hand, and you get a monster to your hand from your graveyard, which is really awesome. And then the Link 3 Equimaxes. It once per turn you contribute a monster it points to negate an opponent's card effect, which is pretty good, and it gains attack equal to whatever it points to. So with the Kaijus, you can really rack up some attack points on him. Also, with the double damage and the piercing damage, you can OTK pretty easily. And then I run some typical Nightmare cards, Nightmare Phoenix, Nightmare Unicorn. You can pretty much put anything you want in here. Mech Knight Crusadia Avramax, I'm thinking of putting that in. It's pretty hard to get rid of. It gains attack equal to what it's battling once per battle, and it can't be affected by card effects. So I think that would be a pretty good addition to the deck. And then Photon Strike Bouncer, because it's a level 6, and World Legacy World Crown is a level 6. I haven't really used it a whole bunch, but it's an option to get rid of some of your opponent's cards. And then Tornado Dragon, Dark Rebellion, and Honor Arc. Just, if you're in a bind, can beat over an opponent's monster, destroy a spell or trap, or steal an opponent's special summon monster.
Okay, great. Well, we'll take a quick pause and then we're going to show off some quick combos and we'll get right back to you. Okay guys, before we get into the combos, I really quick want to talk about one thing I've got going on before Halloween week. Is I've got a Ghost Trick Week special going on from the 25th through the 31st. I will be doing a Ghost Trick video every single day of the week. Friday the 25th all the way through the 31st. So there will be a giveaway. I'll be opening this box of Shadow Specters and doing a little bit of a giveaway and stuff. You guys can find all the details on that for my video that I uploaded earlier tonight. I'll also put a link to that in the description, and it'll have all the details on what's going on Ghost Trick Week and what you can expect from the giveaway and how to enter into the giveaway. So without further ado, let's just go into this combo with Tyler.
So we're going to be starting this entire Link Climb combo with 2 Crusadia cards. If you draw these cards, you're pretty well off. So you're going to summon Arborea, and then you can Link summon Magius, and then you can special summon any Crusadia monster to a zone it points to. And we're going to go with Draco, because when Draco is special summoned to a zone a Link monster points to, you get a monster from your graveyard to your hand. And then you can link up to Regulex and special summon Arborea, because he was normal summoned. You can special summon it now to a zone a Link monster points to. With Regulex, you get a Crusadia spell or trap card to your hand. I always go for Testament because it's a +2 in your hand. It's a really good draw card. And then you can link up to Equimax. So now you've got your Link 3 card. And then if you have any other Crusadia cards in your hand, you can special summon to a zone it points to. So it gains attack equal to what it points to. And if you have any Kaijus in your hand, which I run 4 in this deck, you can special summon one to your opponent's side of the field. And while your opponent controls a Kaiju, you can special summon one to your side of the field. If it's in the zone Equimax points to, it gains that much attack. And with Maximus, you can make damage inflicted to your opponent double. So you can do like over 12,000 damage with this setup, and you can draw 3 cards at the end of the damage step with Testament. So it's a pretty good OTK strategy with not many cards to start with.
Okay, well I guess that's going to do it for this deck profile, so thanks for hanging with us. Don't forget to check out that Ghost Trick Week video, and Tyler Esser and Common Collector out. Peace out, dudes.